Ladies and gentlemen, it is time. We are back. Football season is almost upon us. Week 1 is merely a week away, roughly, depending on when this podcast goes up. I'm excited. You should be excited. I know one person who's excited, and that's Mr. Justin Ludwig, the number nerd himself.
I am pretty excited. Yes, the same gentleman who ate a 12-egg omelet that was the size of a small Thanksgiving turkey and felt, quote, comfortable afterwards.
I saw your picture on Facebook, and it was quite impressive.
Well, see, the trick is usually a large quantity of food like that, you have to sacrifice quality for quantity. But no, it was a really good omelet. That was the most surprising thing. Robust, hearty, and yet still delicious. Lots of potatoes in it. That was the other thing.
Like home fries potatoes?
There were home fries, there were the hash brown patties, and then there was the shredded, whatever you call it.
The shredded version.
That's the one.
All right.
Anyway,
well,
getting ahead of myself.
It sounds like you're all energized and ready to go for this NFL season.
I know. It was the precursor to get myself ready, amped up, and looking at numbers. Well, not really, but maybe. Maybe. A little bit.
Well, that's what we're going to do here. Like I said, week 1 is coming up quickly. This time around, we're going to do a separate podcast for our initial preseason predictions regarding the over-unders on total team wins. And we're also going to make our picks for the playoffs. So
That's now.
Yeah, we're doing that now. And then next week we'll put out our week 1 predictions based on the spreads like we have done in the past.
As is tradition.
Exactly. You may now eat your sandwich. All right. A lot of stuff happened in the offseason before we get going with our picks here.
Did it?
Yeah, there's the whole Deflategate thing. Tom Brady had a not so glamorous drawing of him in the courtroom, which I thought was pretty humorous.
I wonder, do you think he bought it or something?
I don't know.
To both get it out of the mainstream and to just sort of hang it up as a trophy, put it on his mantle.
Be like, kids, when Dad's away playing football, he'll be here watching over you, and then the kids get nightmares because it's so weird looking.
Brady on a shelf, Dad on a shelf. Yeah.
I could see it.
Sort of like that.
Yeah, he's suspended 4 games, but he's still appealing it. And,
no, we think he's suspended 4 games.
Well, as of now, he's suspended 4 games, but he's Tom Brady. They are the Patriots. I would not be surprised if that changes before the start of the season.
How do you think Garoppolo feels about this? Do you think he's mad or excited?
I bet he's nervous.
Like when Brady went down with his knee injury and Castle came in and then got a huge payday the next year. You think Garoppolo is trying to repeat that?
Could be. I mean, I think a lot of that's part of the system they play in, but, Garoppolo, they obviously picked him to be, the heir apparent, so to speak, for Brady. So
no, they didn't.
Huh?
No, they didn't.
Well,
they just had to have somebody.
Yeah, I guess.
Maybe it's like, I don't know, somebody's cousin or something. Like, hey, Jimmy, you want to play football? Yeah. What do you got to do? Nothing. Just got to put on a jersey.
Yeah. I'm back up to Tom Brady. He never gets hurt. He never gets suspended.
Yeah, he's Tom Brady.
Yeah. I don't know.
He's an Adonis.
It'll be interesting to see, but we'll get to that. Few other notes that happened today, actually. Trent Richardson was cut by the Oakland Raiders. So he's currently seeking employment. The Niners released, whatever term you want to use, Aldon Smith and Ray McDonald after some off-field issues. Yeah. Adrian Peterson will be back this year, so that'll be help to the Vikings. So yeah, that's some of the quick news that we'll just run over, but we'll hit on some more.
Another big cut today too.
Go on.
Fred Jackson.
Oh, right. Yeah, the Bills and Fred Jackson are parting ways.
I mean, they have
after
LaShawn,
10 years.
But...
Right. I think it was still a surprise move, though.
Sure.
But, all right. What do you say we jump into this season prediction?
Anyway, into
here.
the meat and potatoes of this.
Yeah. Let's start with the NFC West. And we'll start with those Arizona Cardinals.
A bit
well, that's the first one that's what I put on my spreadsheet. I had to start somewhere, so
I guess.
Here we are.
Still a little arbitrary.
Well, who would you have wanted me to start with?
I don't know. Alphabetical order.
What, NFC or NFC? Or AFC, AFC?
Yeah, AFC. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway.
Arizona, over under 8 games. Last year they won 11.
I know. That wasn't a very good 11 either. I said over.
You took
just
the
barely.
over?
Just barely.
All right. I also took the over on that. Last year they, before Carson Palmer got hurt, they started out 9-1. And then after the quarterback injury and some other injuries, they finished the season 2-6, including a loss to the Panthers in the playoffs. So I could see them repeat, maybe not quite 11 games, but in that 9-10 range, I could see them hitting that.
Yeah, it wasn't a powerful 11 wins. It was just kind of like, we scored more than them, and that's all that matters.
Yeah.
So,
well, and last year too, they had defensive injuries with Patrick Peterson and Tyrann Mathieu, and provided they stay healthy. Actually, they found out Patrick Peterson had diabetes, and so now they think they have that under control. He'll be better than he was last year. So even though they did lose their defensive coordinator to the New York Jets, they still have a very solid defense and a very solid offense as well. Although I'm not sure about their running game.
You want to go where? You want to go to the Jets? Okay, go ahead.
We'll bring you back when things go awry, but
just stay in touch.
Yeah, we'll keep your resume on file. Yeah, that's pretty much what happens there. But yeah, I could see the Cardinals. That's a tough division with Seattle, but I could see them winning 9 or 10 games. Definitely.
You know who I can't see winning 9 or 10 games? San Francisco.
Yeah.
8.5 is, I don't know, it feels kind of generous.
I took the under on that one.
I also did.
All right. Well, look at us, 2 for 2.
I feel like a 7.
Yeah.
7 feels hot for them.
Yeah. Last year they won 8, and like I mentioned, they lost two defensive players. They lost Patrick Willis to retirement. They lost Frank Gore to free agency. Michael Crabtree's gone. They did bring in Torrey Smith, but they're going to rely heavily on Carlos Hyde in that running game. But I just don't see them winning more than 8 games.
Nope.
Not with that division.
Nope. Not with that strong St. Louis team. But that doesn't come alphabetically next, so we'll get there.
Well, unless we were to spell out Saint, but that's not how we did it.
That's not in the zeitgeist of things.
Yeah, so moving on, we're going to Seattle next. Seattle is 11. Last year they won 12. What are your thoughts?
I mean, other than the big contract stuff, they haven't really changed. So it's like
They did bring in Jimmy Graham, which is a big deal, I think.
Yeah.
He didn't have the greatest season last year in New Orleans, but he's definitely a step up from their previous tight end.
Well, sure, but they're not really. I don't know. I mean, are they pass oriented enough that he's going to be as big of an impact?
Well, I think part of it is that it's someone other teams are going to have to worry about, and he's a good blocker, so that'll help their running game too. Not that they need a lot of help with Marshawn Lynch, but it's just one more weapon that teams have to be, wary about.
With Marshawn and all that contract stuff, who knows?
He just needs Skittles.
I guess. Pay me in Skittles.
Skittles aren't free.
Or candy corn M&Ms.
Ugh. I can't believe I saw that.
Did you eat them?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I don't even want to try them.
No, I said, Mars Candy, what are you doing to M&Ms? I mean, you want to add a pretzel inside or a peanut? Sure, that's fine. Let's stay away from the candy corn, though.
Is there a candy that you would rather not eat more than candy corn? Like, if it was between candy A and candy corn M&Ms, is there a candy that you would rather eat the candy corn M&Ms?
Like regular candy corn, I'd rather eat candy corn M&Ms over regular candy. Well, all right.
That's too derivative.
Nothing comes to mind.
Ooh, that's like a bottom of the barrel candy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of like the terrible candy like you used to get as a kid that you thought was going to be good and was terrible, but nothing's coming to mind. I just keep thinking about
wafers.
Is that candy though? It's a wafer of candy?
Oh, they sell it with the candy.
Yeah.
You know what I always didn't like? Mary Jane's.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, just too plain. It's like the payday of like
too plain Mary Jane.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. What are you taking? Seattle over, under?
It's really hard to not think they're going to do just as well this year.
Mm-hmm.
Over, but, the Seattle's going to be a common thread in the things that I'm going to talk about later, in my opinion. In this football person's opinion. Which I have no formal training, so, goes that far.
I actually went a different way. I went push. I think they're going to win exactly 11 games.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I think they go 11-5 this year. I wouldn't be surprised if they went 12-4, but their division's pretty tough with Arizona and St. Louis. But I think 11 is. I think they win the division with 11 wins, but. I don't.
Who do they play in the AFC?
We can find that out here.
If only there was some depository of information that was easily accessible. They play the NFC North.
So they have the Packers, Bears, all them.
Or, I mean the AFC North. That's the AFC division.
Yeah. Yes, they have Bengals, Steelers, Ravens, Browns.
Woof, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might be right. You might be right.
I mean, we'll get to the Steelers, but their defense isn't anything to write home about. So, Seattle.
No, but I mean that whole division is, of all the AFC divisions, that's probably the most well-rounded. It's four tough games.
Yeah.
Well, except for Cleveland, but.
Yeah, I could see that.
Or maybe not. I don't know. We haven't talked about Cleveland. Spoiler. Anyway. So who's the king of the mountain in the NFC West in your?
Well, we still got one more team to talk about.
Oh, right. Well,
unless you want to skip over St. Louis.
No, St. Louis under
7.5.
Well, I mean, the question is, what is Nick Foles going to do? Do you have faith in him as somebody you had under your watchful eye for a few years? Do you feel like he can replicate that in another system?
I think to an extent he can.
Well,
I took the over. I think their defense is very, very solid. Their special teams is very good. And I think Nick Foles will be able to keep him in games. And they added Todd Gurley to their running back attack. And, granted, he's a rookie. He's not going to be playing it all this preseason, so it's kind of hard to say what he's going to do. But he's a very, very tough runner, very similar, I think, to Steven Jackson, who had a very solid career with the Rams before going to Atlanta. But I could see them winning going 8-8 this season.
I don't know. Good defense, but that offense is questionable at best. Plus, they've got a tough division.
I mean, that's true. Their biggest thing offense-wise is, can they keep the quarterback? Can they give him time? Now, obviously, Sam Bradford had issues with injuries, and part of that was the offensive line. Part of that was, on him. But, Nick Foles played in a fast-paced offense under, Chip Kelly. So I think he could kind of take some of that into St. Louis and kind of help them, their offense anyway get better, with quick passes or quick slant routes or anything like that. But I don't know. I could see them winning 8 games this year. I could see it. But for division winner, I have Seattle. I think it's their division to lose.
I think you're right.
Okay. Is that all you want to add for the NFC
Done
West?
and dusted. Well, I'm going to talk about Seattle a little more.
Okay.
It's not like they're not going to come up again.
Oh, so you're not going to talk about them now?
No,
Okay.
I'll wait to ramble on about them later.
All right. Let's move across the coast here, the NFC East.
West to East.
We have Dallas at 9.5. Last year they won 12.
I said over. It's a squeak over.
You think they go 10-6?
I think they go 10-6.
I have them over as well. I think they. I think they're an 11-5 team. Maybe 12-4 like they were last year. I mean, granted they lost to Marco Murray, but
yeah, that's gonna be huge.
I don't know though, because Joseph Randle showed flashes of brilliance last year when he was given the ball, and a lot of it too is their offensive line was really good last year, so they were able to run really well, and they protected Tony Romo, so he was able to get the ball downfield to Dez Bryant. Defensively, they're getting Sean Lee back. That's huge for them. I think they'll be better defensively too. So I wouldn't be surprised if they won 12 again, but realistically, I think they're like 10 or 11 win team.
Yeah, they're gonna get short end of the stick with that schedule too, the first place schedule. Yeah, they'll have to play Green Bay and Seattle and Carolina, but that doesn't count. Who's their AFC counterpart?
The East, they play Dolphins, Jets, Bills, New England. So that will be tough as well.
Ooh, and they play New England week 5 too. Brady's gonna be pissed. It's gonna be FU mode for Brady. So
yeah,
that's gonna be
unless he comes back before that.
That's true.
I have them at the over as well, in case that wasn't clear. But yeah, I don't know. I just think this is going to be a pretty big year for Romo and Dallas. As long as they stay healthy and Bryant stays healthy, they'll be able to put up some big numbers.
Yeah, I mean it's the receiving core that's going to be pretty dangerous.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
If that cashes in, then they'll be all right.
Speaking of dangerous receiving core, how about the New York Giants? Over under 8 games. Last year they won 6.
It's largely like a regression thing. I'm saying over only because I think that 6 is just like a fluke. Like they'll never do that again.
You think so?
I mean, I don't know.
I took the under.
Do you have a guesstimate as to how many wins they'll get?
I think they're like 7-9.
That's fair. Why? I just went the opposite way.
6-10, 7-9.
Yeah.
It's going to be one of those years where if they don't make the playoffs, Tom Coughlin's going to be gone as coach. They're going to have to kind of decide what to do with Eli and what kind of direction they want to take. But yeah, they have Odell Beckham Jr. and Victor Cruz is healthy again, but they don't have a running game. They got Shane Vereen, but he's more of a receiving back out of the field.
Well, they've usually done all right with a committee. Plus, they had I don't know where he is in the depth chart right now, but Larry Donald did pretty well last year as a tight end for them.
Yeah, he was okay. I mean, I don't think he was anything fantastic, but
no, it's just another option. They don't have to continuously go to Victor Cruz or something.
Yeah, I mean, Eli just seems to be so inconsistent, and that offensive line, I don't know if it's going to be good enough to keep him healthy this year. I just don't know, but I don't see them, winning 8 games. Not with that schedule either, because they're also playing the East. They're playing Patriots, Dolphins, Bills, and who am I missing? Jets. Well, the Jets. I don't know.
Who am I missing? Oh, the Jets. Ugh.
Yeah.
They seem so forgettable.
Yeah. Exactly.
Speaking of forgettable, no, we're not there yet.
No.
No.
All right.
Speaking
so,
of unforgettable.
Philadelphia over under 9 games. Last year they won 10. What do you think?
Is there really a way that they won't win at least 9 games?
You think so? I took the over.
Well, I did too. I'm just, I don't know. I don't know that they could. I mean, is their quarterback situation? Is that the thing that's the biggest?
I mean, Sam Bradford's going to be the starter.
I know. That's the question.
And yeah, I mean, and I think personally, he's good when he's healthy. Now, obviously, in St. Louis, he wasn't healthy very much. But when he was, he played well. And in an offense like Chip Kelly's, I think he'll thrive. You know, you look, obviously, Chip Kelly didn't think highly of Nick Foles, even though Nick Foles played really well. He didn't think twice about trading him for Sam Bradford. So I think that kind of says something. I really want to know how Chip Kelly thinks and what's going through his mind when he makes some of these trades and signings. But it's almost like, well, let me reserve judgment until I actually see, the product out in the field. I mean, they've been scoring a lot of points in the preseason, but it's also preseason, so I'm not trying to put too much stock into that. But like, if you look at their schedule, week 1 is the Falcons. Week 2 is a tough one against the Cowboys, but then they have the Jets, followed by the Washington Professional Football Team, followed by the Saints, Giants, Panthers, then back to the Cowboys. So they start off the season with relatively, not tough defenses. Save for the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys will be fairly tough, not incredibly hard. But you look at the rest of that team or the rest of that schedule going for the first 9 or 10 weeks, and it's looking pretty good for them
if they stay healthy.
Well, right, if they stay healthy, right? Yeah, DeMarco Murray. People were, you let LaShawn, you trade LaShawn McCoy. Obviously, they got Kiko Alonso, who I think is going to be fantastic for him at linebacker. So I'm not overly upset with that trade. DeMarco Murray signing, I liked, again, as long as he can stay healthy. He was worked a lot last year by the Cowboys. So, between him and Ryan Matthews, I think they can, provide a good running game along with Darren Sproles here and there. So,
well, that's the thing. They don't usually go with a traditional starting back. It's right. Usually they spread it around. So, he'll get his chance, but he won't be overworked again.
Right.
And even still, they have Ryan Matthews and Sproles. So,
yeah.
Well, we got 2 more anyway. Who cares?
Exactly.
No, we don't have DeMarco. That's okay. We got Sproles and Matthews. Who cares?
Play a half game, get a whole snow cone.
Mm-hmm.
All right. How many wins do you think they get?
I'd say 11.
11. Okay.
And clearly that's going to be enough to win the division because the next team's not going to win 11 games.
You don't think so?
No.
Not with Kirk Cousins announced as a starter?
Well, the bigger question is how long into the season it's going to be until RG3 gets traded. Well, even though they have him on the week 1 tickets.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, from what I've heard here today on August 31st, that they're actively looking to part ways.
Where would he go? That's the question.
That's a question. I honestly don't know. I honestly don't know who would take him or who, wants him.
Well, like I said, you trade Vic for RG3. Done.
Would the Redskins... I mean, I guess it depends how much of the contract the Redskins have to eat.
For RG3.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But,
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see them. I took the under.
Oh, I said
Yeah.
I said 4 games.
Yeah, they
Am,
won.
am I being like?
They won 4
Am I
last
crazy?
year. I don't think so. I mean, it might be tough because if Kirk Cousins is average in that offense with Deshaun Jackson and Pierre Garçon and Jordan Reed, the tight end, I think they could win 5 or 6 games. But if he gets hurt or has any sort of trouble, then they're pretty much done for.
Yeah, but that receiving core is really one note. I mean, it's the deep threats. That's where they're going to beat teams is if they get the deep threat. But it's
Right.
like if you cover that, and that's it. They're sunk.
Right. Well, that's easier said than done, but yeah. No,
No,
I
it's
see
easier
your
done
point.
than said.
Well, it's something, but yeah, I took the under. I don't think they win more than 6 games.
No.
All right, that's under for you too. All right, who do you have winning the division?
Under. Philadelphia.
Philadelphia. I have Dallas winning the division.
Really?
Yeah, I have Dallas winning the division. I think they, like I said, I think they're an 11 or 12 win team. Eagles, maybe a game behind.
All
But
right, yeah,
I'm trying not to. I'm trying not to go too crazy on Chip Kelly's schemes. Like I said, I kind of want to see what the product looks like and how it pans out during actual gameplay.
Yeah, I mean, we pretty much jumped to the same conclusion. I think we'll have,
Yeah.
once we get to the playoff picture, we'll see that our dance card's pretty close. It's just,
Yeah.
partners are slightly rearranged.
All right, let's head up to the tundra of the NFC North.
Ooh.
Chicago. Over under 7 games. Last year they won 5. A disappointing 5.
I know, that's the thing. It's like with the Giants, it's like you don't think they could do it again. I said over.
You said over?
I said over.
I said under.
Okay.
They
Your prerogative.
they no longer have Brandon Marshall.
Well,
They still have Matt Forte. They still have Cutler, who's can be good, here and there. But I just don't see them having enough offense to put up a fight in the NFC North. I just don't. They lost Brandon Marshall, and they also lost their first-round draft pick, wide receiver Kevin White, to an injury. And they did sign Eddie Royal from San Diego and Jacquizz Rodgers as a backup running back. But Eddie Royal and Alshon Jeffrey as your top 2. I mean, Alshon Jeffrey, sure, but I don't know how I feel about their receiving core and with Cutler being so up and down.
yeah, but I don't know that Jeffrey's reached his full potential yet. That's one thing. The
No,
other thing that's working for them is they have the last place schedule. So now they'll have Tampa, Washington, and St. Louis.
Right.
So that's, that's probably enough for a couple of wins sprinkled in there.
Yeah, you're right. I hope Alshon Jeffrey makes a leap this year. He was looking really good last year, in some of those games. And with Marshall gone, he's obviously the number 1 receiver, so he's going to have to step up, regardless if he's ready or not. And Matt Forte at running back, he's a solid running back for sure. He's very good, but he's also prone to injuries, and I think that might come back to haunt him. But that's why we make these picks. We'll find out as the season goes on, right?
All conjecture.
All right, so you took the over, I took the under. How about Detroit at 8.5 games?
Uh, 8.5 seems a little low. So I said over. I
Said over?
I feel like 10.
I took the over as well. They won 11 last year. I think also they're a 10-6, 11-5 type team.
Yeah, it's just I know they lost Reggie Bush, but still, it's
Well, that's
like,
not that huge of a
they're
loss.
just
I
able
think.
to sling the ball just too well.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah, you have Calvin Johnson and Golden Tate and Amir Abdullah, the rookie running back, was looking pretty good in preseason. So
I think he's going to be pretty good. I made sure to pick him up.
Yeah. They do have a fairly tough schedule, though. They start out at San Diego, then at Minnesota, and then they're home to the Broncos, followed by the Seahawks, Cardinals. So his first few weeks might be a little tough for him. But then they do play, some a little lighter schedule later on. But I could see them being a tough team, putting up a fight with Green Bay for the NFC North title.
Sure.
I said putting up a fight. I didn't say winning it.
All right. Well, we don't know that.
Well,
but speaking of,
so you took the over, correct? And I did as well. All right. How about Green Bay? 10 wins, over under.
Over. I said 11.
Even with Jordy Nelson out.
Well, that's the thing. It's just a lot of the places that are putting up their projections for the 2015 season seem like they felt that Green Bay, I mean, I guess this is adjusted after Jordy Nelson too. They think that Green Bay is the favorite to win the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
So clearly they know something, or at least they think they know something.
Yeah. No, I took the over as well. It hurts that Jordy Nelson's out.
Sure.
But Aaron Rodgers is the type of quarterback who brings other players up to his level.
Right. I mean, it's like whenever, you're playing your fantasy draft, it's like, do I draft Nelson or Cobb? And that was,
right.
Sophie's choice last year for the fantasy owners. So it's like, well, is it the receiver that's doing the work, or is it just Aaron Rodgers is that good?
Right. Yeah, and I think Aaron Rodgers is that good. So I'm not too worried about them, losing Jordy Nelson. It sucks because he's fun to watch, but Devontae Adams was looking pretty good last year, in a few games that he got to play. And, obviously Reggie Cobb is always a threat.
Mm-hmm.
They finally have a running game again with Eddie Lacy. It's been a long time since...
Well, they think they have one.
What's that?
I said they think they have one.
Well, they had one last year with him. He was an animal for sure. So I think that between that and Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball, they'll be okay without Jordy Nelson. But I have Green Bay on the over. I think they're 12-4. 12-4 record this season.
Mm-hmm.
All right. How about the next team? Minnesota, 6.5.
I said over because it's like they just have enough.
Yeah.
Just to get over that 6.5.
I took the over as well.
They're not going to be any good. It's just 6.5 is just too low.
You don't think they're going to be any good with Adrian Peterson coming back and Teddy Bridgewater showing signs of greatness last year?
No. I mean, they also have...
They also signed Mike Wallace.
Yeah, but that's... I don't know. I don't think it's not consistent. Mike Wallace is going to get a couple of good scores, but it's not...
I don't know.
Not a consistent weapon.
There were some games last year where they had Charles Johnson, and he was looking very good in Minnesota. So I think between him and Mike Wallace, and obviously Adrian Peterson coming back, that's going to be a huge boost to their offense.
Well, if AP's as good as he always is.
You're questioning that?
Well, he's getting old. Plus, he didn't play last year.
Yeah, so he's basically
recharged.
He's basically a year younger because he didn't play last year.
No, he's a year older.
You're
right.
But yeah, I'm talking football years, not age years. But I don't know. I think Minnesota's going to be good this year. I'm rooting. I like Teddy Bridgewater. I'm going to be pulling for them.
Like way more than 6.5 wins, good, or just like mediocre good?
I have them. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they won 10 games.
Lofty expectation.
Well, they won 7 last year without Adrian Peterson, without the best running back in football.
3 wins, huh?
Yep.
All right.
That's That's my story. But
your opinion, and I respect that.
I have Green Bay winning the division.
Yeah, I do too.
All right. That was easy. How about this fun division? NFC South, where the winner last year had a 7-8-1 record in Carolina.
No. I don't know what to say about Atlanta, so I said push.
At 8
their
games?
mark is 8. I think they're going to hit 8.
All right. I took the over.
How far over?
I think they could win 10.
All right.
I think they're 9-7, 10-6 type team.
I don't know. It's Roddy's getting old and Julius is still good, or Julio, not Julius. Orange Julius? No.
Orange Julius. Now I'm thirsty.
I know. I was drinking a fruit drink earlier. But
yeah.
It's like the running game. Yeah, Steven Jackson.
Well, Steven Jackson's not the number one back here. Devontae Freeman is their number one. Actually,
Yeah.
Steven Jackson isn't on the team anymore.
What?
Not according to the Atlanta Falcons depth chart.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, Devontae Freeman. Who else? Who was the other one?
Well, regardless, if you can't think of it off the top of your head, it's clearly not good enough.
I was thinking of the other receiver, the young receiver that's coming up, Justin Hardy. I think he's kind of going to be taking the role of Roddy White because Roddy White's kind of showing his age and kind of breaking down a little bit. So I think, if Julio Jones stays healthy, they're a 10-win team, and they bolstered their defense. Their defense is going to be better than it was last year. Not great, but better than last year. And they can score points. So I think their defense keeps them in enough games that they can win 10.
Well, sure, they can score points, but then the real question is, with this stupid rule change, it's like, I don't know.
What rule are you referring to?
The pushing back the point after.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's a thing.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't really touch on that, but
no,
now it seems
what is it? It's like a 30-yard kick now instead of something like that.
Yeah, so it's no longer,
what's for
a chip shot, but now it brings up to the point of, I think, from what I've seen in preseason, it seems like a lot more 2-point conversions are being attempted, and they're figuring, if I miss one and I get another one, it's just the same as getting 2 extra points, so who cares?
Right. Well, and part of it too is it's going to depend on the team's location. Like you look at Atlanta, they're playing half their games in a dome, plus another one in New Orleans.
So you think they'll kick it more?
Well, I mean, they're not going to have the elements to deal with like a team like Pittsburgh will.
I guess.
Or Buffalo, where, it gets cold and windy and snowy.
But I feel like a spread offense, something that's a little more pass heavy, would be more likely to try something from the 2-yard line.
Well,
because then you're not as dependent on the run. It's,
right.
It's more varied.
Yeah, no, I see your point there, but I mean, for a team like Atlanta, when they're playing, like I said, they're playing indoors, they're not going to have super windy conditions for a 30-yard field goal.
What if somebody opens the door?
Well, I don't think it's going to affect it that much, but I don't know. I could be wrong. We need to get sports science in on this and figure it out.
You're an accredited meteorologist now? Many hats. Wears many hats.
Well, I've seen some of the meteorologists, and I feel like I could do what they do.
I'm pretty sure in older Madden games there was still a wind in the dome.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Maybe it's a programming glitch, but
it could
still.
Could be.
That was the premier sports simulation for many years. Many years.
All right. So you took the push?
I said push.
All right. How about Carolina 8.5?
Not a push. I said under.
Push. Under. I also took the under. They lost Kelvin Benjamin for the year. That's a big, big hit.
That hurts.
Their running game is Fozzie Whitaker.
Fozzie Whitaker.
Let's not forget about Fozzie Whitaker.
Is he their number one?
I don't think he's a number one, but he's definitely going to be seeing more carries this year, I think.
just because his name's Fozzie.
Yeah. Let's see. They have. They still have Jonathan Stewart, but he's
getting there.
He's hit or miss with when it comes to injuries. So it could be Fozzie heavy this season, which is suitable.
Fozzie heavy.
Since,
how's your game plan? Fozzie heavy.
Since the Muppets are going to be back on TV, you'll have
That's
Fozzie
true.
Bear than Fozzie Whitaker. I mean, what
Why
more?
don't they
could you
have
ask
him
for?
guest star?
Maybe
that's
they
a
will.
Slam dunk.
I know.
It's a slam dunk.
It'd be stupid not to do it.
Exactly. Well, I mean, we don't know what's going to happen on the Muppets anyway.
Yeah,
So,
that's true.
maybe they'll pull that out of their back pocket. Speaking of out of their back pocket, I feel like New Orleans is going to be on the up and up this year.
You think so?
I have no justification for this, but I just said over.
So you took the over, huh?
Over.
I took the under.
Ooh.
I think they're 8-8.
Well, we did it again where you go one down and I go one up. Washes out.
All right.
It's a wash.
So it's going to be a push.
Yeah. Law of averages.
All right. So you don't know why. You just have a gut feeling that they're going to go over 9 wins.
Yeah, they're not prime New Orleans Saints, but it's just, I don't know. They're usually better than what they were last year. It's one of those again where maybe they just got unlucky, and then they bounce back to, what I think is the norm.
So who do you think steps up this year offensively? I mean, besides Drew Brees.
I know. Again, I don't have justification. It's just I'm spitballing because I don't really know.
I would like to see them do well because I like them. I like Brandon Cooks as the number 2 receiver. And they also got C.J. Spiller. So if he stays healthy, he's certainly a threat. Between him and Mark Ingram, that could be a difficult game or a difficult team to defend the run against.
Yeah, it's like their skill players are good, but they're not great.
Yeah.
I mean, Colston, Cooks, Watson, Spiller's all right.
Mm-hmm.
It's just they're good, they're not great.
Yeah, and they didn't really do much to replace Jimmy Graham either. Their starting tight end is Benjamin Watson, who's not bad, but he's not Jimmy Graham. So
yeah, he's not great.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't see them being good enough to win 9 games. I just don't.
Well, when you play Tampa Bay twice.
Well, speaking of Tampa, they're 5.5 this season. What do you think?
Barely under.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. I took the over.
Why?
Mike Evans, Vincent Jackson, and I think Jameis Winston is going to do better than some might expect.
I think he's going to get beat up.
You think so?
Yeah.
He's a tough quarterback, though. Even if he does get hit, I think he can still stand in and take those hits.
Yeah, but 16 games, just getting beat up. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe they start hot and then just kind of fizzle out.
But he's miles better than Mike Glennon and Josh McCown from last year.
He's miles better than that all-star tandem they put forth to get 2 wins.
See? Exactly. And he's throwing to, Mike Evans, who's an animal. And Vincent Jackson is, can still put on a show too. They're 2 tough receivers to cover. Their running game is, kind of questionable, but
exactly. That's what I just. It's not where it was, and Doug Martin's just not the Doug Martin of that one season.
Yeah, that one time when everyone thought he was great and called him something hamster, whatever it was. Muscle hamster? I don't remember.
Who's behind him? Sims, Rainey, and James now.
I don't know. I would not be surprised if Jameis and the Bucks win 6 games.
Yeah, but maybe they have... Would you say that they have the biggest upside in the NFC of all the teams that might break out? Do you feel like they have the biggest chance?
In the entire NFC?
Yeah. I mean, that we just covered the last team in the NFC. Why not have a retrospective and
I would put Minnesota as a bigger breakout team than Tampa.
Because of AP?
Because of AP and Teddy and Mike Wallace and Charles Johnson. And Minnesota's defense is better than Tampa's. Yeah. I think of those, NFC teams that aren't already good, Minnesota is the breakout team this year.
Well, you will not get to put your money where your mouth is, so now we'll never know. Because they don't play each other.
Yeah, I know.
Now we'll never know. We won't see that clash of the Titans.
Who do you have winning the NFC South?
I was being facetious when I said Titans. New Orleans.
New Orleans. All right.
If you're keeping score at home, I've said Seattle, Philly, Green Bay, and New Orleans for the division winners.
And I have Seattle, Dallas, Green Bay, Atlanta.
Well, like I said, I'm saying Dallas is a wild card.
All right. I'm saying Philly's a wild card.
I said Dallas and Detroit.
Yeah, I have Philly and Minnesota as my two wild cards. Even though I could definitely I could be talked into Detroit, but I got a feeling about Minnesota.
It's more like I picked them as the incumbent because it's like are they bad enough?
Who else are you gonna pick? Kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like are they bad enough that they're gonna slide out? I mean, 7 of the teams that made the playoffs in 2013 and 14, 7 teams made the playoffs both times, and I think Detroit was one of them. I could easily check that in 3 seconds. Put my money where my mouth is.
2, 3.
They were not.
Good timing.
But what I'm thinking is that they made it last year. They'll make it this year. It's just it's one of those things like Seattle in their division. It's like who's gonna take their place.
Right.
Whereas maybe it will be Minnesota. I don't know. We haven't seen anybody play yet, so I'm just talking out my butt right now. So
yeah, that's why this is fun.
It's all
we'll look back and see how wrong we both are.
I know.
When Carolina wins the Super Bowl.
And then I'll say I shouldn't quit my day job. No, when Tampa wins the Super Bowl.
Tampa.
What are they?
I don't know. I didn't look to see what they are.
Oh, I got it up. They are 1, 2, 3, 4th to last. No, they're tied for 6th to last.
Plus 5,000?
10,000.
10,000.
So if you bet $1, that's $100. You're getting 100 to 1 on your money.
Who wouldn't want that? Now you're thinking about it.
I know.
It's only $1.
It's like, what's the dumbest thing I could bet that might actually go through?
Tampa. Who's the very last?
It's a fight to the bottom between Jacksonville and Tennessee.
Okay. Yeah, it's kind of what I expected. All right. Speaking of those two teams, let's go to the AFC, shall we? Do we cover we got our wild cards for the NFC?
Oh yeah.
All right.
Done and dusted.
Sorry, who did you say again?
I said Dallas and Detroit.
Dallas and Detroit, the 2 Ds. All right. AFC West, Denver, 10 games over under.
I said 11, but now that I think about it, I'm not entirely sure why.
Well, you already said 11, so.
I know. It's already been recorded and what's the verb? Stenographed? Stenographed?
Stenographed?
I don't know.
Well, I am the one that produces and mixes these podcasts, so I could just cut it out and then it never happened.
That's true. I'll leave it in your capable hands.
All right. Well, too late. I already wrote it in the spreadsheet, so you're taking the over. I'm also taking the over. I think Denver's wins 11 or 12 this year.
But do they have the weapons?
Well, they did lose Julius Thomas, but they still have Peyton Manning. C.J. Anderson's, an up-and-coming running back for certain. Demaryius Thomas is still there. Emmanuel Sanders had a great year last year for receiving yards.
I know, but does he repeat? That's the thing.
Well, I think so. I think he can. Let Let's see. Let's see their depth chart real quick. Yeah, Monte Ball at running back has not turned out to be what they were hoping for.
That's fine. That's fine. I mean, it's not like they traded, 5 draft picks and whatever.
Yeah, so wide receiver-wise, they have Demaryius Thomas as their number 1, Emmanuel Sanders their number 2, Andre Caldwell, Cody Latimer. So a couple younger guys that might be able to step up with Peyton Manning at the helm. Again, C.J. Anderson as the lead running back is very, very solid running game for the Broncos, I think.
At the helm, like a weathered sea captain.
Yep.
Missing an eye, a couple of scars, maybe a raspy accent,
a parrot hanging off his shoulder.
It's a little antiquated.
Well,
I'm thinking like mildly modern sea captain.
What about like Muppet Treasure Island, where he has a lobster instead of a parrot?
I can get on board with that.
All right. Then when you're hungry, you're like, oh, here, lobster, just hang out in this hot tub of water that I made just for you.
Oh, lobster, you're looking kind of dirty. Here, I prepared you this soothing bath for you.
Yeah.
Idiot.
Here, the butter helps soften the skin. All right.
Good moisturizer.
Yeah. All right, how about Kansas City at 8.5 games?
Well, now they don't have Dwayne Bowe.
They do have Jeremy Maclin, though.
Yeah, I know, but they don't have to worry about. We don't have to. We can't pass to Dwayne Bowe because he can't get a touchdown. We can't let him.
Well, no wide receiver for the Chiefs last year called a touchdown, not just
I know.
Dwayne Bowe.
But it's more of a shame that Dwayne Bowe didn't. But they still have Jamal Charles.
Yes, they do. That's for certain.
Weathered and old and beat up Jamal Charles.
And somehow still amazing.
I know, but he's going to run out of gas sooner or later.
Do you know who the other wide receiver is, the number 2 receiver?
I'm cheating because I have the depth chart up.
Yeah.
Are you asking or are you
well, I was asking, but
question?
then, I have it up too, but if you have it up.
It's Albert Wilson, but they also have Jason Avant.
Albert Wilson, exactly. And so, 2 former Eagles now in Jeremy Maclin and Jason Avant.
Hey, pass me the ball.
Is that supposed to be Andy Reid?
No, it's supposed to be Albert Wilson because, he's probably more like svelte Albert.
I don't think Fat Albert's playing receiver at his condition. But I took...
hold on. I'm picturing Fat Albert playing receiver. No, that doesn't jive.
No.
He'd have his jersey would come up past his belly button. It'd be like William Perry.
Yeah. That's exactly what it would be like. All right, what are you saying? Over, under, 8.5?
What did I... Oh, I neglected to say my answer. I said under.
Interesting. I took the over.
Well...
I took the over.
I mean, it's one of those that 8.5 is probably about right.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't think they... I think maybe 9 or 10 games, as long as Jamal Charles is healthy. If Jamal Charles is not healthy at any point in the season, my over-under pick on this is voided.
Oh, so it's contingent. I see.
I'm putting a stipulation on it.
All right.
Solely based on Jamal Charles' health. Because Alex Smith is a fairly accurate quarterback. I mean, he can get the ball to his receivers. Granted, touchdowns maybe not so much, but
yeah, and I can do advanced calculus. It's just I don't really want to.
Well, right. But the fact that you can is impressive. Plus, they're playing in the AFC West, where they face, teams like Oakland.
Tough teams.
So, yeah.
Who are they playing in the NFC?
Let's find out.
That's of note. The North.
Yeah,
but they play them pretty early. That's lucky for them.
They do.
It's all done by week 8.
Yeah, that is pretty early.
That's a lucky bounce. That's weird.
Yeah, it's tough. They might start off slow, but then they could turn it around once they get through that tough North.
Yeah, it's a bunch of tough defenses. Houston, Pittsburgh. No, not Pittsburgh. I take that back. Yeah.
Sticking with the under.
Yeah, you already put it in the spreadsheet. What's done,
Right.
It's done.
All right. How about Oakland? 4.5.
You said over,
Yeah,
but 5. So, I mean, 5 is over, but
I took the under.
it wasn't like they stomped on it.
I took the under. I think they get the first round draft pick next year.
Oh, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Them or Tennessee, but we'll get to Tennessee.
Tennessee, you already had your turn.
Oakland signed Michael Crabtree. Not fantastic, but not terrible. But they just have a quarterback problem. It's just so up in the air with Oakland that it's hard to pinpoint where they should start fixing things.
They should just move to Los Angeles.
Will that fix it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't know. I mean, they did draft Amari Cooper from Alabama, so that could be, he could be really good.
Yeah, but you got to have a good quarterback to throw to.
Well, that's the thing. Right now their QB is Derek Carr. They signed Christian Ponder. They still have Matt McGloin. None of those are really jumping off the page and into fantasy homes.
Off the page and into your car.
Yeah. All right, Billy Ocean.
I know. That just wrote itself.
Yeah, like we said, they cut Trent Richardson today. They have Latavius Murray as their number 1, and they have Roy Halou as well. But I don't see them winning more than 4 games. I just 5 seems like if they win 5 games, I feel like that's a successful season for them.
Yeah, but it's them against Tennessee. Is that the last game? That'd be funny if it was the last game. No, it's not. They play San Diego and Kansas to finish it out. But maybe you're right. Maybe, yeah. See, it only would have been funny if they played Tennessee in the last game and they both have like 4 wins or something silly.
Yeah, and they end the game in a tie.
Let's just agree to disagree.
Let's end this game in a 0-0 tie. Yeah. Yeah, I just don't see Oakland winning 5 games. They won 3 last year, and I don't think they're any better this year.
It was a generous 3.
Yeah. Yep. Let's see. Next up, San Diego at 8.5.
Said over.
I also said over. I think.
I almost burped. I said over, but I felt like 8.5 was a good.
Yeah.
It's a good bullseye.
Yeah, I can see them being 9-7, 10-6 type team.
Yep.
I think that's probably where they'll end up with that division.
Yeah. They didn't improve and they didn't deprove.
Yeah, I mean
they're getting old.
They did pick up who did they get? Was it? Yeah, I mean they had Melvin Gordon,
Stevie Johnson.
That's it. Yeah,
Kellen
Stevie
Clemens.
Johnson they picked up because they lost Eddie Royal, obviously, but
well, it's like a wash.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's replacing, one guy with a similar guy kind of thing.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I don't think they win the division or anything, but I think they get more than 8 wins.
Who's in the driver's seat for you for the AFC West?
Denver.
Oh,
yeah.
Almost said at the same time.
You should have counted. You should have gone 1.
You
say
can
it on
edit
3.
that in post.
No, it's too late. It takes too much work.
I can't scrub that extra half a second.
It's past. Time has moved on.
All right, yeah, you're right.
Speaking of moving on, how about the AFC East? Buffalo, 8.5 over under. Tyrod Taylor has been announced as the starter at quarterback.
I know, that's so weird.
LaShawn McCoy is now in Buffalo. Rex Ryan is coaching Buffalo.
Like, is it weird that I think that's weird?
What's weird?
Well, they have
The Rex Ryan part, or the Sean McCoy,
Taylor,
or
Matt
Tyrod
Castle,
Taylor?
EJ Manuel, Matt Sims, and then I saw somewhere else that they had Kevin Cobb, but I don't see him on their actual depth chart.
Yeah, I think
don't
he
think
might have
that's
gotten
legit.
cut. Let's see.
Sammy Watkins, Percy Harvin, LaShawn, and Booby Dixon.
That's right. I forgot about Booby.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they released Fred Jackson, as we discussed earlier.
Yeah, it's like the AFC East should be the most competitive division this year. Because New
agree.
England's going to get to a slow start. So you feel like everyone's going to be gunning for get those wins early, put the pressure. But who does Buffalo play in the first 4? Indy, New England, Miami, and the Giants.
So they played two of their division rivals in the first 4 weeks.
Yeah, you can get to 3-1 with that.
Buffalo also added Charles Clay, the tight end from Miami, which is not a bad pickup. Yeah, like I said, Percy Harvin. Yeah, I don't know. I took the over. No, wait. No, sorry. I took the under.
Yeah, I took the under. I don't think they're at that point yet.
Their defense.
They've got the tools.
Yeah,
the defense is great.
Defense is great. Now, obviously, Kiko Alonso didn't play last year because he was hurt all year, and obviously he's not playing there this year because he's with Philly. But,
so what are you getting at?
Well, I think their defense is going to be pretty similar to what they were last year, and Rex Ryan's a defense-minded coach too, so I don't really see that fading. But they won 9 games last year with Kyle Orton as their quarterback.
Yeah, but it's like, who's their quarterback now?
Right, Tyrod Taylor. It's just, yeah, but you don't know how he's going to do.
Right.
You know, Kyle Orton is a veteran who knows how to be smart with the football. So Kyle
Orton also doesn't give a crap about football.
Well, yeah. Yeah, I just don't know. The quarterback thing's kind of too big of a question, but I could see them going 8-8, 7-9, something like that.
Right. It's not like, who's our punter? Oh boy, we got 6 guys on the depth chart.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a totally different ball game.
Yeah.
I said under.
Yeah. EJ Manuel has not worked out for them like they were hoping, but he's still on the team for the time being.
Yeah. It's not like they traded 5 draft picks for him.
How about Miami? 8 wins. 8 wins last year.
8's a pretty good target. I said over only because they're not. They're a mediocre team. They're just slightly better than mediocre.
Mm-hmm. I took the over as well. I think with New England, they're probably gonna have a rough start while Tom Brady's out, and that's gonna be a time for Miami to kind of take charge of the division, maybe get a little bit of a lead. I think Tannehill makes another step forward. He played really well last year. He's kind of showing what kind of quarterback he can be.
Well, but it's like, where's his ceiling?
Well, right, and I don't
peaked?
think they found it yet. It took him a long time to get going, to get to this point. Longer than I think they wanted or expected. But he's getting there now, and I think he's feeling comfortable. Obviously, they lost Charles Clay, the tight end to Buffalo. Mike Wallace is gone, so the receiving core is a little slim. But
yeah, but now he's got somebody seasoned with Greg Jennings.
What's
so maybe
that?
that'll.
Yeah.
They have Greg Jennings, so maybe it'll help that he has a veteran receiver instead of younger guys that are.
Yeah, and Brian Hartline proved to be a deep threat for them last year, so I think that's definitely a plus.
Sure.
Yeah, and if Lamar Miller can stay healthy, he's a very serviceable running back. That can put up some numbers for him. So I wouldn't be surprised if Miami goes 10-6. I could see them doing that.
Yeah, they're like in the weird nebulous of teams that are knocking at the front door on the cusp.
Well, and also let's not forget they have Kenny Stills from New Orleans as their number 2 receiver.
Let us not forget.
Actually, they don't have. I'm mistaken. They don't have Brian Hartline. Let me see what happened with him because I must have missed that. He's with Cleveland. Okay. So, yeah, they lost Mike Wallace and Brian Hartline, and they got Kenny Stills and Greg Jennings. So, yeah, like you said, they got veteran in Jennings that hopefully can provide them with some veteran leadership and some yards on the field.
Yeah, it just seems like they don't connect. Tannehill was connecting with his younger receivers.
Yeah.
As well as he should.
Right. No, I agree. All right, so we both took the over for Miami. And let's see. New England, 10.5 games. Over under. It's an exasperated sigh.
I know, because it's like they're going to be good. But the question is, how much is that 4 games going to hurt?
Well, let's talk about who is no longer there. Let's do
So
that
wait,
real quick.
is Tom Brady suspended for 4 games or 4 weeks? Because their bye week is week 4. I assume 4 games.
His first game back will be against Indianapolis, I think.
All right. So then that changes things.
Is that 4 games?
Yeah, because
Okay.
they play Pittsburgh, Buffalo, Jacksonville bye week, and then Dallas. So
Okay.
what I had said before about New England versus Dallas, that's out.
Right.
Assuming it's 4 games, and assuming he serves 4-game suspension.
Right, because I recall that that since Indy is the team that kind of alerted officials to the deflated footballs, that's also the team that plays them first if Brady serves his full suspension.
Poetic justice.
Yeah, so you want to talk about a revenge game, that's a big one.
I'm here to throw touchdowns and deflate footballs, and I'm all out of touchdowns.
Yeah. So they lost 2 running backs in Shane Vereen and Stephen Ridley.
That's fine.
They lost defensive back Darrell Revis.
That's not as fine.
They gained Reggie Wayne, which is not bad. I mean, yeah, he's older, but New England and Bill Belichick know how to use players, and
It was exciting enough that I immediately picked him up off the wire. So
yeah, there you go.
I mean, he's got to throw to somebody.
Yeah, they also got tight end Scott Chandler from Buffalo if Gronk doesn't stay healthy, and they have backup QB Matt Flynn.
Whoa! Don't discount Garoppolo just yet.
Well,
Don't
no,
write
I'm
him
just
off.
I said Matt Flynn as in a way that expresses that he's not the backup, that he's the backup to the backup.
The backup to the backup. The assistant to the regional manager.
Yeah, exactly. He's the Dwight Schrute. I took the over. I think they win more than 10 games.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't hurt that they start with, Jacksonville in that first 4.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like Pittsburgh, Buffalo, Dallas. I mean, they probably wouldn't have won. They probably wouldn't have won all 3 of those games anyway.
Right.
As a guess.
Yeah.
So it's like they drop maybe 1 more than they should have, and then they're back on course when Brady gets back.
Yeah.
And especially on course when he's pissed off and he goes in Indianapolis.
And actually, I'm mistaken. Matt Flynn is not with New England. He's with the Jets.
So who is their backup?
Ryan Lindley, who was with the Cardinals last year.
QB Patriots.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, with this team, if Gronk is healthy, they're a completely dominant team. There's no other way to say it. LeGarrette Blount as their number 1 running back, he's a beast. He just runs into and through everybody, which New England hasn't really had a lot of with their running backs in a long time. So yeah, I could see them doing a 12-4 type season like they had last year.
I said 11, but we're
well, that's over for both.
I know.
All right. How about this next one? The New York Jets.
Under.
They won 4. You gonna let me announce? All right. 6.5. You're taking the under.
Under.
All right. I'm also taking the under. Geno Smith broken jaw because his teammate sucker punched him. Apparently. I I don't know where the Jets are going to be good.
They're going to be good at losing games.
Well, I mean, on the field, I don't know where they're going to be good.
They're going to be good at giving up points.
Oh, okay. All right.
Just think of whatever they could be good at and then just do the opposite. And that's like about what it's going to be.
But they do have a head coach who is very good defensively.
Well, head coaches don't score points.
Well, you're right. But
in the literal sense.
Fitzpatrick,
Brandon Marshall,
Ryan
Eric
Fitzpatrick's
Decker,
going to be the starter, it looks like.
Zach Stacy and Chris Ivory and Brandon Powell.
Not a terrible running back core, but not anything to write home about, really.
No, even their receiving core is not that bad. It's just, I don't know.
I mean, Brandon Marshall is, everyone loves him until they don't kind of thing. He wears out his welcome everywhere he plays, but I don't see him doing too well with the Jets. When they have, an eventual breakdown at some point this season. I think he's going to come out and say some stuff, and
it's going to fold.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they start off against the Browns, but then they face Colts, Eagles, Dolphins.
Yep.
That's going to be a tough first 4 weeks for them.
Yep. Close up shop.
Yeah.
Get ready for the draft.
Do you have them with the worst record in the NFL? Do you think they get the number 1 draft pick?
Who did I say? I'm going to say I was guilty of sort of regressing a lot of teams towards 8-8. My big picks for the low ones are Washington, I think, is going to stink. Oakland. Why did I put a question mark with Tennessee? They're going to be terrible, too.
Tennessee?
Maybe I thought they'd win more games than I... Yeah, we'll get there. Those 3, I think, are... I don't know. Now that I look at the Jets, I don't know if they're... Maybe it's like they win 5 right out of the gate, and then they just kind of run out of steam.
All right, who do you have winning the division?
Because they're not that bad. New England.
Yeah.
It's the curse of the incumbent again.
Yeah.
It's like who's gonna overtake them?
Yeah,
unless they completely poop the bed.
Yeah, even if Brady is out for 4 games, I still don't see them losing that division.
No.
Yeah, unless something crazy happens, which
no, and especially with the strength of the other 3 teams, they're not solid second place teams. They're not knocking it. I mean, the closest team last year was Buffalo, and they were 3 games behind.
Right. How about the AFC North? Baltimore, 9 games.
Oh, what a tough division. Fun and tough. I said over, and then I wasn't sure why.
I took the under.
Yeah, that kind of felt that way.
Obviously the whole Ray Rice thing. Who else did they lose here? They lost Torrey Smith, they lost Jacoby Jones, and they also lost backup running back Bernard Pierce.
Yeah, and it seems like Steve Smith also lost his mind, so there's that.
Yeah. Well, it's his final year, so he might want to go out on top, so he's probably going to try everything he can to win, which is good for Baltimore.
Maybe.
What's that?
I said maybe.
They drafted a receiver from UCF, Brashad Perriman. They drafted tight end Max Williams, and then they acquired QB Matt Schaub as a backup.
Acquired much more formally.
Well, or free agent signing, whatever it was.
Semantics.
I just don't know what to make of Baltimore.
I know.
Their
whole paradigm has shifted. They're no longer the hard hitting smash mouth football.
Yeah. Their lead running back is Justin Forsett, who had a great year last year, but can he keep it up? I don't know. I just don't know. I have them under. I think that division's too tough for them. And where is... I don't know. Any more thoughts on Baltimore?
No. It's going to be Tough division is going to be the theme for the next 3 teams. Well, except Cleveland.
Cincinnati 8.5 over under.
Over. So 10.
I took the over as well. Yeah, I could see them winning 10. They won 10 last year. I really like their running game with Jeremy Hill and Giovanni Bernard.
I know.
I think
they still have their good passing weapons too.
Yeah, and they still have AJ Green and yeah, as long as Dalton is smart with the ball, I think they'll be okay. Yeah, I think they're 10-6, 11-5 type team, even in that tough division.
I mean, that's going to be the theme also with the whole division, is that a lot of the teams didn't really do a lot to improve or deprove.
Mm-hmm.
Like them, Baltimore probably had the most going out the door, but even Pittsburgh. I mean, what did Cleveland pick up? Dwayne Bowe, that's it. And Brian Hartline. So the whole division just didn't really make much of a splash. So it's like, how far are they going to deviate from where they were last year?
Yeah. Yeah, I feel the same way.
They've all just sort of aged instead of, shuffled.
Yeah. Cincinnati did add linebacker A.J. Hawk from Green Bay, which, I mean, he's kind of tailed off, the last couple years or so, but I think he's still a solid veteran leader out there for him. So I think that'll help their defense, in that running game. Let's see. So we both took the over on Cincinnati. How about Cleveland? 6 games.
I said over. No, I don't know why. I mean, they do run against the Jets, Tennessee, and Oakland.
I took the under. And
do you think it's gonna be way under or just?
I'm not way under. I think
just a smidge under.
I think it's either gonna be, 5-win team or they do win 6. So they might they might push.
Listen, here's their first 3 games. Get ready for this.
Okay.
The Jets, Tennessee, and then Oakland. That's their first 3 games.
True. I don't know. They lost Jordan Cameron at tight end. They lost Josh Gordon because he's suspended the entire season. They did pick up Dwayne Bowe. They did pick up Brian Hartline. Terrell Pryor, who's a wide receiver / quarterback. I just don't see their quarterback situation is just too much of a variable. Like, yeah, Johnny Manziel, I don't see him getting it together enough.
No, he's not going to play.
I mean, who's starting for him? Josh McCown?
So far.
Yeah.
Either him or...
And Josh McCown was on a 2-win Tampa Bay team last year.
Wow. Change of scenery.
He's playing.
He's
playing with worse receivers than he was in Tampa.
Just loan McCown to the Cavs and let LeBron throw his hat in the ring for a couple of games.
I don't know if the Cavaliers would be okay with that. I don't know. I took the under on Cleveland. I don't think it's either under or they win exactly 6 games.
Yeah, that's a good.
Yeah.
That's a good estimation.
How about the Yinzers? Your new home, 8.5 over under.
It's like, what did they do to? They didn't really do anything. They just got old.
Yeah, but
they have that nice porous defense.
Yeah, but they can score a lot of points with Le'Veon Bell, and now Artavius Bryant is suspended for the first 4 games. That was just announced, this weekend. But I don't know. They lost Troy Polamalu to retirement. They lost wide receiver Lance Moore, which isn't really a big deal. They added D'Angelo Williams as a backup running back. They drafted wide receiver Sammy Coates out of Auburn, and they signed Mike Vick as a cautionary backup. Like, that's kind of all that was. I don't know. I see Pittsburgh putting up lots of points. I mean, yeah, their defense isn't great, but I think it's going to be something like the Eagles 2 years ago, where they were putting up 35 points a game and giving up 28.
Sure.
That's kind of what I see with the Steelers this year.
As long as you score more than the other team. Well, yeah, I said over.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I put $10 on Pittsburgh, or 10 cookies on Pittsburgh to win
for this year,
to win the entire shebang.
Did you really?
Mm-hmm.
What'd you get on that?
10 for 180.
Odds wise.
Yeah, $10 to win 180.
That's not bad.
10 cookies to win 180 cookies.
Oh, that's a lot of cookies.
Uh-huh. And not candy corn cookies either, just regular.
Hopefully they don't get you with the thin Oreos either. It's like, oh, here's 180 thin Oreos. This isn't real cookies.
It's really only 90.
It's like a half a cookie.
Yeah.
It's not cookie math.
I have Pittsburgh winning the division.
I do too.
All right. Let's see. One more here. We got the AFC South. Houston, 8.5 over under.
Yeah, apparently Houston's going to be all right this year. I said under, and I don't have a justification.
You know who their starting quarterback is?
No.
Brian Hoyer.
Brian Hoyer.
And they don't have Andre Johnson. Arian Foster is hurt. Let's see what the latest internet has to say on Arian Foster.
They have Cecil Shorts. DeAndre Hopkins, Keyshawn Martin.
Yeah, DeAndre Hopkins really started to break out last year, and I was glad I had him on my fantasy team. I think he's going to be great again this year.
Brian Hoyer, Ryan Mallett, and Tom Savage.
Mm-hmm.
That is not a murderer's row.
No.
9 games? Really? I said 8 because I feel like they're going to be, middle of the road. Good defense, but an offense that's not quite up to the same level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have them under as well. I mean, obviously they have J.J. Watts. Their defense is always going to be a factor, but I don't think their offense with Hoyer helming them is going to be enough to get 9 wins.
Nope.
You know what is going to be enough to get 9 wins, though?
Well, here's the thing.
All right,
here's the thing. Are they too stacked? And by they, I mean the next team.
Oh, okay.
By the next team.
I wasn't sure if we were moving on or not.
No, and by the next team, I mean the Indianapolis Colts.
I took the over.
I know, I did too, but it's like, are they doomed because they have so many good players? They picked up so many good. Well, I mean, good in the sense that it's upgrades.
Well, right, but why is that a sense of doom for you?
I don't know. The 2004 Lakers, the 2005 Penguins, time and time, a team gets a whole bunch of good players and then they just don't gel.
Yeah, but I think it's different because these players are at a stage in their career where they want to win. And they want to win now.
Well, everybody wants to win.
Well,
most people want to
Andre
win.
Johnson and Frank Gore have not won a Super Bowl. They both signed with Indianapolis because obviously they feel they can win with Indianapolis.
Yeah, that's like when Karl Malone and Gary Payton and who was the fifth wheel? It was Payton, Malone, Shaq, Kobe. They had Glenn Rice.
Was Artest on that team?
No. Who was the fifth? There was a fifth guy. I don't know.
I don't remember.
If you've got something else, I'm looking.
Well, I don't see that being an issue with
Indianapolis. No, they're going to do really well. It's just
obviously like Frank Gore is an upgrade over Trent Richardson and Donald Brown from last year. Yeah, they lost Reggie Wayne, but they got Andre Johnson, who has played for mediocre quarterbacks his entire career. If you look at the quarterbacks that threw the ball to Andre Johnson, Matt Schaub is obviously the biggest one because he has the most passes and touchdowns to him. But Matt Schaub's numbers are not good. Andrew Luck's numbers are pretty great. So I think Andre Johnson and T.Y. Hilton are going to gel well together. Andre Johnson's still a big guy, good for those red zone, back at the end zone type passes. Frank Gore he's just continuously a workhorse. He just lowers his head and pounds his way through that offensive line and, picks up yards. And I think that's something that Indianapolis needs desperately.
2004 Lakers also had Horace Grant. Interesting.
Didn't they have Rodman at one point?
Yeah, that was before, I think.
Yeah.
That was like their 2000 run.
Yeah. I think, going back to Indy, I think they're 12-4.
Going back to the sport we're talking about.
I think they're 12-4 this year.
That's what I said.
All right.
I just have a feeling they're going to get tripped up somewhere in the playoffs.
Probably.
Like they run out of steam or something.
Could be. You know who
Injuries
doesn't
come
have to
back
worry
to
about
bite them,
playoffs
or-
this year?
Because
Jacksonville.
they what?
I said, you know who doesn't have to worry about playoffs this year? Jacksonville.
No.
5.5 games. They won 3 last year.
I said a generous... Well, I said under, but I was pretty generous and I said 5.
I took the over only because I think they win 6.
Wow. You really don't think they want a good draft pick?
No. Because that never works out for them anyway.
See, listen. Blake Bortles.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, Blake Bortles.
Well, they did get Julius Thomas, which will help. Now, granted, he might miss a couple weeks, but they did beef up the offensive line, and the defense is better than last year.
That's like giving an Amish guy an HD TV. Oh, he has a great TV. Yeah, you know what he doesn't have? Electricity.
Well, except for when he puts the TV in his shed out at the end of his driveway where he does have electricity.
Well...
Because they do that.
So in the world of metaphors, we're saying that even though they have Julius Thomas, they have Blake Bortles. But
well, I don't think it's all Blake Bortles' fault. He got sacked like 50 times last year.
Well,
that's more offensive line than it is him.
That's part of the problem. Julius Thomas is questionable right now, though. But
Right. Well, he's trying
miss
to
a
figure
month.
out if he needs surgery or not.
I know. But that might not help.
I like Blake Bortles. I think he had a bad year last year because he had no time to throw the ball.
Well, maybe he'll have less time this year. Time will tell.
Well, he
On how
shouldn't
much
have
time
less
left.
time if they upgraded the offensive line even a little bit. But yeah, I took the over. I think they win 6.
I said 5.
All right, you're probably right, but I'm not changing mine.
I already wrote it down.
Yeah, Tennessee 5 wins is the projection.
I said push.
Push. I took the under.
I said push only because I didn't, 5 was almost the lowest I gave anybody for reasons I'll never know. But they do have Mariota. So you don't think upgrading from Mettenberger to Mariota is not worth a few wins?
I don't know because they don't. What other weapons do they have around him?
Kendall Wright.
Okay, and
If you're not wrong, you're Kendall Wright.
yeah, but that's
it.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
Bishop
it.
Sankey.
Well, and he didn't turn out to be much, and again, it comes down to who's, in the trenches blocking for him, but,
Sure.
he didn't really turn out to be what everyone was hoping for last year. I just don't see them winning 5 games.
Yeah. I mean, that's sort of like a ceiling for them. They'll win at most 5.
All right, and you said
After that, they're just...
you didn't give
keeping away
anybody
wins.
less. You didn't give anybody less than 5 wins, right?
What did I say? I said that. I said Washington was 4. I mean, I didn't put anybody down at the low end like
Okay.
2 or 3.
Because last year there were 6 teams that had 4 wins or less.
I know,
Just to throw that out there. All right. So neither of us are very high on Tennessee. I'd like to see Mariota do well. I like him. I liked watching him in college, but I don't, they need to get some more pieces around him to help him out.
maybe he just does poorly out of spite for not being traded to Philly.
Could be. Who do you have winning the division?
Indy.
Indy. Me too. Let's see. How about your AFC wild cards?
Only because I think it's going to be a tough division. I said it's going to be 2 out of the AFC North. Pittsburgh's going to win the division, and then in tow is going to be Cincy and Baltimore.
Interesting. I have Miami and Cincinnati.
Yeah, I thought about Miami.
All right. How about your Super Bowl matchup? Who you got?
All right, hear me out.
Okay.
Again, part of this is curse of the incumbent. I said Seattle, though I don't know that, I don't know. See, it's hard to say that a team could go 3 times, but it's also hard to say who's going to knock them off.
Didn't the Bills go 4 in a row or 3 in a row?
I know, but that's different times.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be a couple of lucky breaks, but I feel like I said Pittsburgh.
Okay. I thought you were hinting at something when you said lucky.
Oh, no. No, they're going to get knocked out.
Okay. So you have Pittsburgh against Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
I also have Pittsburgh, but I have them against Green Bay. I don't think Seattle goes 3 years in a row. I think they could. Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't be super surprised, but I just got a feeling Green Bay is gonna turn it up this year until they get to the Super Bowl because I have Pittsburgh winning. As you may have guessed earlier after my cookie bet talk, but
yeah, but you could hedge your bet and just put some cookies on Green Bay. But you're only getting 5.5 cookies to 1.
Yeah, I could.
It's like a half a glass of mint chocolate milk.
Yeah. Who do you have winning it?
Seattle.
All right. So you have a rematch of what was the one Pittsburgh 2003 when they beat Seattle?
Yeah, I do.
Something like that. All right. So we both have Pittsburgh.
Where
That's
is
pretty
the
interesting.
Super Bowl?
Where is Super Bowl 50? The first year they're not using Roman numerals.
Well, it's 50.
Right, but they're no longer
Super
using
Bowl
numerals.
Yeah, that's dumb.
San Francisco, Levi Stadium.
Levi's.
Mm-hmm. The perfect fit. Or maybe that's Wrangler. I forget. I don't know.
Whatever. It sounded good.
Yeah. All right. Anything else you wanna quick add on to our preseason picks?
Ooh, I'm just excited. I'm excited. It's like I don't fall is my least favorite season, but it's just like fall means football.
Mm-hmm.
And football means Sicilian pizzas, sitting on the couch, drinking Dr. Thunder.
What a day.
I know.
It also means playoff baseball, which I personally
times.
enjoy.
Yeah, but that's like I don't want to
You don't want
count my chickens.
You don't want to cross streams?
No.
All right.
I mean, maybe there'll be a yin-splosion.
Could be. All right.
For those not in the for those who don't know the colloquialism, a yin-splosion is when multiple Pittsburgh teams win in a day. So if the Buccos win in a day, as well do the Steelers, that's what it's called, a yin-splosion.
And if they had a basketball team, them and the Penguins could have a yin-splosion.
I know, but it was like last year when the Pirates were going to the playoffs and something happened with the Steelers like the same day.
Yeah.
It was just
Place went crazy.
Everybody's head exploded.
People started jumping into Three Rivers for no reason.
What's that smell? Oh, that's Three Rivers.
All right, so that wraps up our preseason picks, our over-unders.
Exactly.
We have them written down for record. We'll revisit these later in the season to see just how far off we probably will be.
And then we'll laugh.
And then we'll laugh, and we'll chuckle.
We'll laugh.
Giggle or two. We'll be back next week with our week 1 picks against the spread like we will be doing every week throughout the season. So be sure to tune into that. Check us out on entertainmentbuddha.com because I forgot to mention that at the opening of this podcast. Tons of stuff going on the site. Lots of new video game releases are coming out this month, this September. So check it out for reviews and news and all that good stuff, as well as movies, technology, what have you.
What have you. It's all there.
You can follow us on Twitter at No Punt Intended. That's No Punt in the number 10 DED. Justin, do we have any sort of giveaway prize like we had talked about? If we figure out some sort of contest.
It's still the coveted Larry Bird 81 Topps card. Not his rookie card. It's, it's like the year after.
Right.
But it's still there, waiting for somebody to take.
All right, we'll have to figure out some contest of sorts to as a giveaway. But keep an eye on Twitter.
Yeah,
maybe we'll do a trivia, and you can win yourself an 81 Topps Larry Bird card.
Well, maybe if someone makes me chortle from using the Ask No Punt hashtag on Twitter and asking us a question, and I think it's just like the cat's pajamas of questions, then I'll just send you this Larry Bird card.
That's a good one
as
well.
a reward.
As a reward. If you can make Justin
Right.
chortle, you'll get a Larry Bird card.
Yep. If that's not incentive, I don't know what is.
Yeah, I mean, what more could you ask for?
2 Larry Bird cards.
All right, now you're just getting greedy.
I know.
Yeah. All right, let's wrap this up here. Like I said, follow us on entertainmentbuddha.com, where we make you a better geek, one post at a time. Justin, any parting words?
Yeah, it's the end of this podcast. Shut it down. Shut it down.